This story is about my experience living with type 1 bipolar disorder, a condition I was diagnosed with in 2015. Since then, I've had 7 hospitalizations, each one a battle against the relentless force of mania. My last hospitalization was particularly harrowing, and today I want to take you through that journey. During a manic episode, reality can become incredibly distorted. In my case, it was downright terrifying. One night, I was out of my mind, driving down the highway like a maniac, convinced that the CIA and FBI were watching me, tailing me. I truly believed they were after me, and that fear drove me to speed down the highway at 110 miles per hour. Then, out of nowhere, my car just shut off. I hadn't redlined the engine or anything. It was as if the car's computer decided to call it quits. It felt eerie, like something out of a conspiracy thriller. I thought the spooks had finally caught up with me. I coasted to the median, called my dad, and told him I was in a bad spot. Thankfully, some rational part of me was still there, willing to go with him to the hospital. We left my car on the side of the road and headed straight to the ER. The car was the least of our worries. Waiting in the ER felt like an eternity. Eventually, they called my name, and I was sent to intake. That's when I met Jane, the nurse who would haunt my nightmares. Jane had these predatory, shark-like eyes. When she drew my blood, it felt like she was deliberately causing me pain, digging around in my arm for what seemed like forever. Frustrated and in pain, I told her to draw blood from my hand, knowing it would be easier. She complied, but not without a glare. After that, I was sent to an intake room with an IV port set up. Jane returned with a vial of clear liquid, injecting it into my IV without a word. She repeated this with another vial, and then she was gone. Within a minute, every organ in my body began to act erratically. It felt like my insides were writhing and jiggling. The pain was indescribable. My heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. In a desperate attempt to stop the sensation, I began beating on my chest, hoping to get my heart back into rhythm. This agonizing experience lasted for what felt like an eternity. 2 to 3 minutes of sheer terror. I couldn't comprehend what had just happened. I knew no one would believe me. To everyone else, I was just another crazy person having a manic episode. I will never know if this actually happened or if it was a product of my psychosis. To me, it was real. But explaining this to my family and therapist was incredibly complicated. It's hard to tell someone you've been tortured by a sadist when you're in such a state of mind. I wonder how many people have been taken advantage of in the hospital like I was. Some of you might dismiss this as a delusion, and maybe it was. But that doesn't change the fact that I experienced something profoundly terrifying.